Good morning. Today I'm in my vegetable garden and I have some bare soil that I'm gonna fill in with seeds. I've tried to start things from seed later in the season and it hasn't gone well, but we're gonna try again and see, because it's been raining a lot lately. So that could help me get started. And I'm choosing things that should do well in cool weather. So in the fall, they should do well. So I'm looking at some lettuce. Let's see, this is the Pablo. It's kind of a red and green. Some spinach. This is a butter crunch lettuce, which I did grow some of this earlier in the season. I'm definitely going to do the cilantro, and I think I'm going to do it underneath one of my tomatoes. I have a lot of bare space underneath that, and then I do have the pole beans. So I'm going to try that. Now my concern is that the pole beans will grow onto my boxwoods. I'm going to do them in the middle area here. So that'll be an experiment. And then these I'm not sure of. I have some bachelor's buttons, Blue Boy bachelor's buttons. There's a bare spot over there that I might try this. I have a lot. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use, but that's what I'm going to be working on this morning. So here is the Sun Gold cherry tomato that has a lot of bare space under it, and that's just going to get filled up with weeds as it is right now. Have some morning glories growing back there that I think I'll let stay, but the ones growing right under the tomato I'm going to pull out, and I think I'm going to do some lettuce and some cilantro in that area. And then in the middle of these boxwoods is where I'm going to put my green beans. I've always put the green beans right next to the poles, but I think I'm going to put them right in the middle so that when they kind of grow up and out, they'll hit the poles and not the boxwoods. That's my theory. They generally, like if I plant them right here, they want to like grow out away from the pole. So I'm thinking if I put them in the middle, hopefully they'll hit the pole. Over here, I have this pretty good space in here. Maybe thinking about doing those bachelor's buttons here. There's actually even some space over here. I think I need to figure something out with these peppers. They're definitely flopping, so I'll probably work on that as well. This is the Seychelles pole bean. Here's my next area that in the past this basil has taken up this whole area, and eventually it probably will, but I thought I could plant a couple little things back behind there, and I'm thinking spinach, because spinach can definitely take a little bit of shade. So I think that's what I'm going to work on next. Okay, so I got a bunch of spinach planted back behind this basil. I have green bean seeds planted in here. And over here I have a row of the Pablo lettuce along the front edge, and then cilantro planted back behind. And then back here I planted the Blue Boy bachelor's buttons. So this entire area of bare dirt is planted with the bachelor's buttons. So we'll see how it works. It's the end of July, so it's really going to depend on what the weather does. Good morning. My goal today is just to trim a bunch of stuff, stake up a bunch of stuff, just kind of edit and tidy the garden. I put some bleach water in here so that I can clean things as I go, especially since I'm starting with the peonies, which do have powdery mildew. The first year that I had to cut back my peonies in July, I was like, oh, they're not going to come back. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen, but they totally come back. My friend tried to get rid of peonies, and like every little piece that she left in the ground came back. I'm excited to see that my snapdragons are coming back. You can see that I have this blue star juniper in here. At one point, it was getting lots of sun. Now it's pretty shaded, but I am gonna at least cut back the daisies that are covering it, trying to give it a fighting chance. I'm gonna remove some of these snapdragons to give this crepe myrtle a little bit of space to grow in this year. So I tied up the showy goldenrod. One of them was a little bit too far gone, to just too tough, not pliable enough to get over here. And I'm left with this big hole where the peonies were. So I'm gonna attempt to move a really big pot over here to fill in this space. Hopefully I don't hurt myself doing that. I had a hard time finding the perfect place for it, because of course the perfect place would be right where the peony was, and that won't really work with the stems still sticking up. I tried it to the left, but it was covering the Siberian iris, covering the catmint there. So I moved it to the right, and I think that that crepe myrtle is still a little better off than it was before, hopefully. The only negative is it's not really covering up the utility boxes, but it can't be perfect. So I have just decided to remove this crazy outlier. It's sad to lose all those blooms, but I just can't. I can't take the messiness of it. So yeah, it looks so much tidier without that crazy one. All the rest of them I was able to tie up together, and right now they're all bending towards each other, but I'm hoping in time that they'll sort it out. I do have, these are a couple of stems on this goldenrod that I cut back. You can see I cut back a big stem, and so should have a couple little blooms down here as well. I have a long list of things to do today. Number one was the peonies. Cut down the ones with powdery mildew. Number two is fertilize the black-eyed Susan vines. Okay, now I feel like I can at least walk through here. Get rid of these spent blooms on here now that I got that spider out of my way. I had quite a web go in here. This hydrangea I just put here when someone gave it to me, so it's reasonable for it to not have the energy to sustain those blooms for too long. I'm thrilled with what it did do. There's no reason to spend energy on blooms that are hidden and we can't see. So here I am going to trim this oak leaf back just a little bit. Some of these tasks that I would just come out and do a little bit every day are starting to get away from me as I'm spending more time filming, editing. So I'm going to have to find a good balance. Whole branch. I'm helping this tiarella get a little more space. I'm going to trim this side because that doesn't look good. So I've really helped these get some air, and you can see I have a really pretty ginger back there that was just completely covered. I'm shocked that and I just planted it this year. I'm shocked that it looks that good. These coleus were completely covered. The oak leaf was coming all the way to right here. So all of this stuff will do better now. I also planted these primrose this year. You can definitely see the climbing hydrangea a little bit more now. I think that will help it a little bit. And you can see that you can't even tell. I took just all this off, plus what was in the vase, and it doesn't seem to be lacking in blooms at all. Over here, probably could take even a little bit more out, but the boxwood's pretty uncovered. The hypertufa is uncovered. But we're still getting plenty of blooms out of the Annabelle, and then you can see the climbing hydrangea. I did go ahead and remove a few more, which is kind of left a hole, but I did it for the sake of the heuchera and the climbing hydrangea. But I wanted to show you something down in here. I trimmed this way back, but you can see how this Annabelle hydrangea, the main bunch is back there, and then here we have a little bit that's kind of growing away from the rest of the roots. So this is a perfect opportunity to divide this little bit, just stick a shovel right in there, and you can have another plant, and this in 3 years will be full size. Okay, so I did uncover that as much as I could. Should be much happier. Now I'm going to come over here. I need to cut down this celandine poppy that looks bad. I'm probably going to trim up quite a bit of these Annabelles. Trim the flower stalks off of the hosta. and just kind of clean up this area a bit. Okay, I have this area as cleaned out as it's going to get. I have the drinking gourd hosta, and then this red Japanese maple has been set free from this hydrangea. This is the Sun King Aurelia, which I may need to consider moving. I have this little fern here. This blank spot is where that celandine poppy was. That it's a spring ephemeral, so it can die back to the ground and be fine. Then I have this hosta looking a lot better. I got the hydrangeas up off of it and sprayed the spider webs off of it. These little things coming up are celandine poppies. There's one coming up over here. So I'll probably move those, but I definitely would like to keep them. Then I just have this Annabelle hydrangea, which I think I've decided to switch out for the Invincible Spirit that I have that I need to move anyway. Over here I have a boxwood, some brunnera. So before you could see this brunnera on the right, but there's actually 3 in there. So the ones back there were being covered up by the Annabelle hydrangea. And then this yew just looks better having been sprayed off a bit of cotton and spider webs. And then the Archangel ground cover and another Annabelle hydrangea. I did get this vine. This is the Sweet Autumn Clematis. I got the Sweet Autumn Clematis off of this branch, and I did cut the branch back so that it won't grow on it again anytime soon. And hopefully that branch can start growing up instead of over. This tree has seen better days, but you know, it's kind of nice to just have it there. So even though the top of it isn't great, it's lost a lot of branches, I'm gonna leave it until I have to take it out. I am happy with this area and pretty worn out. I got a lot done this morning, so I'm gonna go in and get myself some breakfast. A question I get asked is, how much time do I spend in my garden working on it a day? And the answer is about 2 hours. I work on it in the mornings. I usually get up about 6:30 and like feed my dog, take out my dog, and then spend about 2 hours in the garden, and then I'm inside by 9. My kids are in their 20s and teens, so I'm still inside before any of them wake up. I just came through and put some Miracle-Gro on this. I'm mostly just curious if it's going to help. That will kind of tell me something for the future. Here you can see that I'm staking these zinnias up with just a little like plastic coated metal pole and some of this kind of stretchy green tape. So I did it twice, and I know it looks a little funny right now, but it'll kind of work itself out. I put one here, and then I have two zinnia plants in here, and I did two of the little poles. I got them off of these gold mop cypress. They were laying on them here. And then I also tied up this liatris. I think it's kind of interesting to look at the difference here. So this plant on the left was eaten completely to the ground by rabbits. And you can see it's kind of come in more full, yet here we are at the end of July and it doesn't really have any blooms. It's just starting to get some little blooms. Now this was eaten down in the beginning of June. And these already had blooms back then. So, but the leaves are really pretty. It's a nice full plant. So just interesting to look at the difference between if you are to cut these down or leave them. I thought it'd be good to just kind of talk about how different areas come into their glory, if you will, at different times. So I think I have a video of this area with the bee balm and the catmint and the echinacea. And those are all done now. But now the highlight of the garden is over here, where I have the black-eyed Susans, the dahlias, zinnias, lilies. And when you step back, like, you're not like, oh, the space to the right is blank, or maybe you are, but overall, when you look at the whole garden, it still looks full. You still see things blooming. I'm sure you've heard, like, you want to have different things blooming at different times. So this was just kind of an example of that. That yes, now this area is done. But as long as you're choosing plants that have decent foliage, like this sage in front here and the sedum are kind of keeping the area going, right? The boxwood, the iris. We have decent foliage, a little bit of color variation, texture variation. And so even though very little is blooming here, it doesn't look terrible. Now I do cut things back when they do start to look terrible. So I cut these snapdragons back and now they're starting to flush back again. The bee balm's not looking fabulous, but everything around it is kind of holding this area up right now. And this tall sedum is the Autumn Joy sedum, and I think it always looks good, you know, at all the different stages. So it's a great plant to have, to just always kind of have something looking nice, like some healthy leaves, some good structure. Okay, so I know that I want to do something with this area today. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do. It needs to be dealt with. It's a big mess. I might end up taking half of it out. I might end up just cutting a few things back. I really don't know. I don't have a plan. As I'm working today, I want to be thinking about what it's going to be long term. I want to just be contemplating. And what I think I've decided is that I want some, you know, this annual is too floppy, it's too big. I don't want it laying on the grass. So what I think I want to do is do some like low mounding things. That tends to be what I'm liking in other areas in the front. I really like this geranium that I have. That's got a nice tidy habit. Some of the red sedum is looking really nice in front, the low growing, like I really like the sun sparkler sedum. What else? I really like the rose marble salvia. So those are some things that I'm thinking about putting in here. I want something low and mounding in front. And then I need to think about what's going to be like my medium height. I have this spirea with, I think I'm going to take this dahlia out. It didn't perform well last year, so I shouldn't have even left it. I was kind of hoping it would just die over the winter, but it didn't. I don't know if this looks good on camera or not, but I don't love the look of it, so I'll probably at least cut it back. All right, I do think that it looks better. I trimmed back the spirea quite a bit, so it now has its own space. I got that dahlia pulled out of there, so it's not laying on the spirea anymore. These irises have a little more room to breathe. Tried to give my juniper there a little bit of space. Might need to take that red flint ageratum back a little bit more. I did uncover a couple of things. There's variegated sage in there and a little just piece of a sedum that I stuck in there last year, which I think when that grows in, that could be good. A little more of the ageratum in back there. In the center of the trellis is my honeysuckle, which it is starting to fill in. Next year, I won't do any of these annuals and we'll just have the honeysuckle. For now, I am going to leave these annuals. There's a morning glory growing here. Starting to look a little better as it starts to fill in that trellis. So then trimmed back this ageratum. And you can see everything in here just has a lot more space to grow. So in the end, I didn't end up getting rid of that much, just mostly cleaned things up and took the dahlia out. This potted plant is bothering me every day, so time to go. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than that dead pot. So I think I'll leave it there for now. Here's a little bit of gardening reality for you. This one doesn't look too bad. I'm going to call it quits for today, but I did want to show, this is deep, deep shade, and this is my Rose of Sharon blooming. Now, it's not a big, full Rose of Sharon like it would be in the sun, but if you just want to stick something back in your woods, it does bloom decently back here. And I'm okay with it reseeding back here because anything's better than the invasive honeysuckle. So it's Saturday morning. We've had 3 days of almost solid rain. It's been a lot of rain. I did come out yesterday during a lull in the rain and just kind of walked around for about 5 minutes, saw a snake, went straight inside. So I haven't really done anything in the garden since Wednesday. Things are pretty floppy from the rain, but I'm not too worried about it. I really need to get out here and mow if it dries out a little bit today. So yeah, really this Pinnacle Hydrangea is really floppy, but if we can just get things to dry out, I'm not too worried about it. That's my second snake in just a few days, so I have to be brave to even come out here right now, honestly, because I really hate snakes. And it was a different snake, definitely a different kind. Oh, I know. I want to see how this is doing. I've decided this is definitely downy skullcap. Let's see. And I'm really enjoying it. So I'm not going to do anything in the garden today other than mowing if I get a chance, but I'm taking a minute to step back and see what is holding up the garden right now. In other words, what blooms are making it look good And so for me, it's the crepe myrtle, the black-eyed Susan, and the panicle hydrangeas. And then there's that purple phlox at the back. But really, that's the main thing, when you really stand back, that's making this garden look full of flowers right now. So good combination for those of you who are looking for July and August interest in your garden.
Thanks for joining me for my week in the garden.